Good evening and welcome to our TalkSports program. I am Michael Bascom, and yes, I am back in Brooklyn, New York. And what a coincidence in Brooklyn, New York, because as you realize, for the past few months, I've been operating from Minneapolis in Minnesota. And our program is now back live in Brooklyn, New York. And this evening, we have a special program. And first of all, I want to extend congratulations to Team Grenada. Yes, Team Grenada for their performances at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Now, 2020, yes, because as you understood, it is 2020. And in addition to that, congratulations to all our Olympians, our recent Olympians, the swimmers, Delron Felix and Kimberly Ince. And then we have our athletes, starting with the lone female, Melanie Rodney. And then we have Anderson Peters, also Lyndon Victor, and of course, our medalist, Kirani James. Something we have been speaking of for the last 3 Olympic Games, Kirani James. This evening, our program is specifically dedicated to our Olympians, but more so our medalists, Kirani James, and in addition to that, his coach, Mr. Harvey Glance. I'm promising you today's program, or tonight's program, should be revealing, because we go in depth into Kirani James, in depth into that team Kirani James, in depth into that togetherness, as they call it, and no doubt, Coach Harvey Glance, and forgive me, I am a disciple of Team Kirani James. I'm a self-confessed disciple of Team Kirani James, and I will tell you more about that later on. But I am seeing already that the congratulations are coming in from far and wide for Kirani and Coach and all our Olympians. But let me first of all introduce Coach Harvey Glance, and then later on, of course, we'll have Kirani for a while. We have to understand that, how it is that, the guy needs some rest, okay? It has been quite a while, and I'm certain that Coach Glance will give us all the reasons why Kirani has to take some rest. As I said, good morning to you, Coach Harvey Glance. Good morning.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm glad to see you once again, Coach Glance. And I know we have quite a lot to talk about. And I really appreciate the time you're taking to speak to us. And also for those who have not gotten to know Kirani James, you in a position, and I think rightly so, to give us an idea of who Kirani James really is, But first of all, before that, I want us to start off with last night's race, Coach Glance. As the coach, what's your takeaway? What's your impression? What's your comments regarding Kirani's performance and overall the 400 meters?
Well, first of all, good morning from Tokyo to everyone. This has really been truly a blessing just to be here with all the things happening around the world with COVID and all the restrictions that have been placed on many people around the world. We were very fortunate to get to these Olympic Games and have the opportunity to compete. And the race last night was epic, epic in many ways, because one, we just witnessed history, and history in a positive way for the country of Grenada, a positive way for Kirani James, and a positive way for Coach Glance, because we did something that had never been done. Not many times do you get situations like that, because a lot of people are not put in situations to make history. And we talked about that, and of course, one of the things, Kirani is a very intuitive and studious individual. So he knew what was at stake. We talked about it prior to the race, and he loves history, and like myself, he also enjoyed making history. So it was something that was on his mind, but we didn't know what the outcome would be. No one knew. You never know until the race actually starts and ends. Uh, but we were in position, and that was the most important thing. Was we were in position to do great things. And although it's been a long road, it also has been a blessing, um, to watch that race unfold, because you had five guys who was legitimately capable of winning that race. And that's what makes it even more amazing, of his accomplishment, because Norman, who has really been getting most of the hype because he is, part Japanese and part American, um, was a whole lot of pressure on him to come out and perform. God knows the defending world champion. We know what his pedigree were, and we know what his experience was, and we also knew that he was a formidable opponent. Um, Zambambro, the Colombian, also was a silver medalist from 2019, at the World Championships in Doha. He ran a terrific race in the semifinal with Kirani, so that was pretty impressive. And Michael Cherry, the young man from the U.S., was up and coming. Didn't have quite the experience, of the others in the race, but he surely had the talent, and so we knew that was going to be a challenge as well. So those five guys, right off the bat, was all medal contenders along with Kirani. And it was just hoping that, you always try to go and win races. But one thing I said to Kirani, I said, no matter what goes out there tonight, understand that there's three medals. Because sometimes you get caught up in gold so much that if one person go by you, you forget that that's a silver and bronze medal. So you kind of end up not fighting. And we had that conversation. We had that very conversation out there right before he went into the stadium. And long and behold, it actually worked out great. It was the kind of words that I could dig down and find within my heart and soul, and also from my experience, that he was able to grasp. And thank God he won that bronze medal by 200ths of a second. So he fought to the bitter end, and one of the disadvantages he had was all his competition was to his right. So he never got a chance to see, only the person that was beside him, and he came late. So for him to negotiate the last 50 meters of that race and stay focused on the line and dipping at the right time was truly amazing.
Coach, any amount of pressure you thought was on Kirani going into that final, knowing for a fact that there are seven other guys, and all of them are hungry for that at least a medal, and only three medals available, as you said.
Yeah.
So it means that four athletes will be living a bit disappointed. What amount of pressure you thought was on Kirani?
The amount of pressure was insurmountable. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, if you imagine, I mean, everything he's came back from, everything that was riding on the table, to accomplish that kind of feat, and really, it's one thing to be one of 300 million people from a country. But it's another thing being a participant trying to represent 100,000 people. And it's rarity. And he's been in that position for the last 12 years or more, and just carrying the country on his shoulder, and to be able to come and deliver. God has given him strength to overcome a whole lot of obstacles. And last night was no different. It was the amount of pressure on him to fight younger legs, and to fight young talent and very talented individuals was insurmountable. So, anybody who ever competed, even if you're just competing in basketball, from the side, or soccer from the side, and you want to win, how much intensity is brought to the table. But the world stage, to go against the best with millions and millions and millions of people watching all around the world is unbelievable. And he's been able to handle that consistently. I made him aware of the fact that for the last 11 years that I've coached him, he has made every major championship final that there is to offer that he's competed in. 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then the Graves hit in 17, the Graves disease. Then he came back in 19 and he made that final, and then now he's just in 21 made another final. So he has been a model of consistency, but he's been able to handle the pressure for not just last night, but for years.
Well, folks, I see your messages are coming in. I will, read and post all of your messages, your congratulations. But let me start with Victor Lopez, the former president of NACAC. My admiration and respect to Kirani and my dear brother Harvey Glance for a fantastic job. Well done. Congratulations. Congratulations, Grenada. I'm certain, Coach Glance, that this is not the first, it's not the last. They have been flowing in from all around.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know Victor Lopez. He's a hell of a coach himself, and a great person. And I appreciate that comment. And I know it's heartfelt. I want him to know from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate that. Yeah, congratulations. They've been flocking. I'm riding off about 3 hours sleep here in Tokyo, and we didn't get back from drug testing, and we had to do a press conference, and we had to go get a late dinner because everybody else was eating. The cafeteria pretty much empty when we went in, and so forgive us if we sound a little tired, but it's been flowing all over. My phone's been blowing up all around the world. I mean, just congratulations coming in from all over the place, and that's what this is all about. When we started this journey.
Why you think, Coach Glance, that so many people will be reaching out to you and Kirani? Is it something special about Kirani's on the podium? I mean, what it is so special?
Well, so what makes it so special is that, one, you're looking at two decent human beings. That's number one. That's what. Hold on. We got the champ coming in.
What? All right. We have to make way for his royalness.
I'm going to my COVID test and all that stuff too. So
yeah.
I just want to say hi and thanks to everyone for the support. I mean, you guys have known the journey, known everything that's been going on. So I just thank you guys. And at the end of the day, it's the Olympics, it's competition, and I'm just glad I could make everyone proud. So I'm just happy for that. But yeah, man.
Right, Kirani. There was something special with you, and I mean, it seems as if you always find something special and intrigue to do when you got that flag around, your friend Gardner at the end of the race. I mean, I was wondering what it is surprising that Kirani will give us this time around. I'm always thinking, and this was one that, he captured, and even the commentator was taken off guard at some point in time. What was the thinking at that time?
No, like when we were like in the section, like I could hear like some of his, folks from his country, his coaches and all, they were saying like, don't let the flag touch the ground, don't let the flag touch the ground. And just instinctively, I just took it and I put it around him. He was already sitting, he already had the pose for it, so I just put it around him. It was,
and
just one of those things instinctive.
And I guess as much as patriotic as you are, I know how it is. But then one again, just before you run off, Kirani, everyone was lying down and sprawl off, and Kirani was walking all around, smiling. And I mean, what was the frame of mind at Kirani after that race? I mean, it wasn't a Kirani that was burnt out or tired or sprawl off as all the others. But there you were making your usual rounds, congratulating all the athletes, and then walking off smiling. I mean, tell us about that, Kirani.
I think it's just adrenaline, man. I think just being in the moment, you don't think about these things, so but yeah, I think it's just adrenaline and everything. So
yeah, and as we see all the congratulations coming in from all over, congratulations, Kirani. Grenada is proud of you. In fact, I read something from Coach Lopez earlier, sending congratulations to you and to Coach. I want to thank you, Kirani. I know you. Thank you for the few minutes. Thank you for a shout out to all the Grenadians. Probably I should give you an opportunity to give a final shout out to all the Grenadians who are, looking forward to seeing you and hearing you. They are now. So here's an opportunity, Kirani.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody, for the support, and I'll always appreciate it deep down in my heart. So, just thank you guys for for everything, for believing, for trusting, and just letting me do, what I need to. So, thank you guys. You guys have played a part, and I'm always eternally grateful for that.
Thank you once again, Kirani. And I know you have to, go back and get some rest and, all the testing and things. Yes, it was a pleasure, Coach. And as we were saying, something has to be so special at that point you were talking about in terms of all these, congratulations. And I mean, it's flowing in. We'll get to all the people who have been sending in the congratulations. We will start from the top once we get a chance, because I know they want to. I will, at least they will know that Kirani will be looking at it at some point in time. But what is so special, Coach Glance? What was so special?
As I was saying earlier, you're looking at two individuals that are really liked all around the world. Kirani and myself, I was as a athlete and coach for over 50 years. I mean, it's been quite a journey for me individually to have touched many lives as an athlete and now as a coach, and other athletes and coaches from around the world. And then you have Kirani, who comes in with the same kind of flavor. They always call us the power team because Kirani can tell you that we both of us, between the both of us, we can't walk without people saying, "Hey, congratulations, coach," or "Hey, coach, how you doing?" And this is before or after competition. So it's a wonderful feeling to go through, and I'm sure there's some people who don't like the fact that we're a team. One, because of a lot of times because of the success, but other times just because sometimes people just don't like good people, and they want to see some bad things happen. They want to hear some bad words, and that, like you said, that little situation that happened with Bahama and the flag is truly who Kirani is. It's who I am. We both are very well liked majority around the globe, and it's no surprise to me that all these many texts and phone calls and messages and emails are coming in from just overwhelmingly all around the place. And here's the other thing, there's a connection, whether it's spiritually or whether it's physical or whether it's emotional or mental, that we both bring to the table with a lot of people. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world because, again, it's our few. We love being around positive people. We love reading positive results, and it's our few. We block out all the negative noise, and that's what makes champions. They don't get caught up in all the negativity. They focus on the positivity. And again, I like to thank you personally for for the last years that you have been with us, and been a positive reinforcement for our team. I do know, and when I say this, and I'm saying it in front of everybody, that you have always bought in to Team Kirani. And Team Kirani is very small. It's not a great group of people that that get in and fight and battle and make it something special. It's a very, very small crowd, but you're one of them. And you've been encouraging and real motivational for all of us. That's the reason why I'm up, and I'm telling you, that's the reason why the champ is up after about 2 hours of sleep, supporting your program, because we believe in positivity, and you've been definitely that for a little small group of Team Kirani.
Okay. I really appreciate Coach and talking about support and being part of the team. Have you, as a coach, as a mentor, I know you're Kirani's coach, but going way back to 2014 in Glasgow, Scotland, where you spoke to the athletes, that's the Grenadian athletes. I think some of them met you for the first time, and when you spoke to them, it was almost like a mentorship. Looking at the other athletes, especially Melanie, for example, I'm speaking about Melanie Rodney. Have you had the opportunity yourself, or even Kirani, to comfort her after she pulled up in that injury?
Well, again, you can almost bet with my makeup, and if I'm involved with any individual, um, I'm the kind of person that lift people up, not tear people down. And of course, when after the race, when she went down the back stretch, and I've only met her this trip, this is my first time having any encounter with Melanie, but she is an outstanding young lady. She's a very talented person with a great education. She's graduated already from college and has a load of potential. She has some issues that she's got to work out physically, which can also affect her emotionally, because there's not a winning combination with both those situations. So once she gets on the right track, and no pun intended, but you get on the right track of getting healthy first, and then being able to let her ability come through. She is a very, very talented. When I watched her stride in practice the other day for the first time, I just couldn't believe how fluid and easy she looked. But yeah, after the race, when she went back to the medical tent, and then eventually got back to the practice track, I went looking for her. And the chef, Dr. Jane Noel, told me that she was around the corner, pretty much boo-hooing and maybe talking to her parents. And so I went around looking for her, and I found her. She was sure enough squatting and then in tears. And I picked her up. I gave her a hug, and I said, "Look, remember this moment. No one can ever take this away from you." And just words of encouragement, but also words of wisdom to let her know that this is just a stepping stone. She's very young. She can be back, but it's going to take proper guidance. It's going to take a full commitment from the Grenadian Olympic Committee, as well as the federation to back her and get this right, because she is a talent. Trust me, she's a talent. And I gave her a hug. I talked to her dad, and because she was on the phone with her dad, and I told her that understand from this moment on, where as we spoke, that she was going to be all right, because I knew I've been around a lot of athletes who were disappointed. I knew how to lift their spirits. I knew how to bring them back. And probably within 24 hours, she was back up and running and enjoying the experience. So yeah, um, that was nothing uncommon. And Kirani has kind of been a real good role model for her as well. We kind of took up on our wing. We ate breakfast, we ate lunch, we ate dinner together, and I've always given her some encouraging words, and she's fine. She's smiling now, and now reflecting on not the negative, but the positive of being at the Olympic Games.
Okay, we'll come back with some more on the discussions there. Let us get some more of the comments coming in. Alicia Alexander, congratulations to you. And Kirani, Coach Glance. Lincoln Depredine, agree with you, Coach. Kirani is phenomenal, a rare athlete and a superb human being. And Susan Mark, we are extremely proud of him. The pressure was real. And more of the comments, proud indeed. Congratulations to Kirani and his team. Congratulations to you, Harvey and Kirani. And I'm certain that some of them saying Harvey because they consider Harvey as a Grenadian. We love you, Kirani. Yes, lots of I think some of these was basically when Kirani was actually on. So oh my God, we love you. So they were Grenadian to world watching from New York. Yes, and definitely they're saying that Kirani has made them proud. Congratulations to him. There's also comments, obviously, from his alma mater, the prize to the one who earns it, obviously from the school song. That's from the Grenada Boys Secondary School, where Kirani represented for a few years. True sportsmanship. We are proud indeed. Yes. Wow. So many comments. Lots and lots of comments. But in all of that, Coach, let me get this other one too. Congratulations to you, James. You did us proud. We celebrating still and wish you all the best. And obviously from Coach Lopez, my admiration and respect to Kirani and my dear brother Harvey for a fantastic job. Well done and congratulations. No doubt it has been coming in. Coach, my question to you now is it has to do a lot with at this point in time, and that's Kirani's age. It's a frank and open question, unscripted, unfiltered, undiluted, unbiased question, Coach Glance.
Notice I'm starting to sit up now.
Have we seen the last of Kirani James at the Olympic Games?
The answer to that is no. We are geared for Paris. We feel like this right here was a journey that was one unprecedented, but we also feel that 2 or 3 years of his life is on reserve as far as his athletic prowess. 2 years was recovering from grades, and of course 1 year was no competition because of COVID. So we know that's 3 more years of life in those legs and in that mind, because we didn't actually go over the edge as far as trying to compete. So there's a lot in reserve. But right now, we're going to focus on Paris. But for right now, next year's the World Championships out in Eugene, Oregon. It's another World Championship. It's something that is very, very close. But we feel like we're on the right trajectory. One thing, this is what I want people to really understand, because sometimes when you are as great as Kirani, you don't realize that, God Almighty, he has been just a model of consistency. I met with some people the other day in the stadium, one being a Nike group, his sponsor, and I informed them that, do you realize that Kirani in all 3 Olympic Games is the only athlete, not just to make the team, the finals and all that, but he's the only athlete to break 44 seconds in all 3 Olympic Games. And no one ever knew that, because again, there's such, when you're as great as Kirani, you just get caught up in winning, and you get caught up in antics and podiums and things of this nature. But as a coach, I'm when I first met him, I said one of my number one goals for him as an athlete was to make sure that he wasn't one and done. Where 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 most athletes come on with a burst, and the next thing you know, you don't hear from them again, or they fall off the map and things of this nature. But you know, I remember saying to him in 2009 when I recruited him. Um, I remember saying to him, "Look, my goal as your coach is to make sure that you're never a one and done person. That your legacy is going to be based on your consistency and your longevity, as mine were. I went 15 years as a sprinter and made 3 Olympic teams for the United States of America. So that is what I wanted him to experience, was not just being around. And that was his livelihood. That was his profession. And that's what he enjoyed doing. But to be at that level for that long period of time takes a certain formula. It takes a certain amount of experience. And it takes someone like myself being in this life who've experienced that to know what it's like. And I can remember saying to him, "Hey man, do you realize that this is your third Olympic team, and this is your opportunity to do it great because you're there?" And I said, "I just want to congratulate you. This is well before we got here in Tokyo. So I just want to congratulate you for what we started out to do." And Karani looked me dead in my eyes and he said, "Coach, wasn't that the plan right from the very beginning? Was to make sure that I didn't just falter?" I said, "Yeah, it was. And we've achieved that goal." So, yeah. Are we proud of Tokyo? Are we proud of the 3 medals? Are we proud of history? Yes, we are. But we're even prouder of great things to come. And I did get that question several times last night, even leaving the stadium. "Coach, is this Karani's last team?" And I think a lot of it came from people who was really concerned about it. So a lot of it came from people who just want him out of the sport because he's such a threat.
Yeah. Well, obviously, it will be something that will be asked over the period of time. And it's glad to know and refreshing to know that Kirani will be around for a while. And it's an opportunity also for those who, especially in North America, that the World Championships come to the United States come 2022 in Oregon, to be exact. And there is the opportunity for you to see Kirani in action. But Coach, it's something we spoke about in our last program a few months ago, and it still is something that I want you to develop on, in that the whole issue of Grenada, Olympians, obviously a message to future Olympians, but is Team Kirani still committed to a 4x4 relay team for Grenada? I know we went into that, but here is an opportunity now for you once and for all to give clarity on such an issue regarding a 4x4 relay team for Grenada and Team Kirani's involvement in such.
Yeah, man. To run a 4x4 at this level, you need at least 5 or 6 good 400-meter runners. And right now, the answer to that is no, because there's not a pool of 400-meter guys that are just coming out of the woodworks. I think a better relay that we probably could focus on for Grenada is the mixed relay, because you only need 2 quarter miles on the men's side and 2 quarter miles on the women's side. And if we can get this young lady, Melanie, going and with the right tutorage and right leadership and the right program, along with another good quarter miler out there, and there are some good female quarter milers that are still out there in the mix, and an up and coming 400-meter guy out in that just signed with Arizona State. So it's very feasible that relay will be easier to try to conquer than the 4x4. So with them adding the mixed relay into these Olympic format, Grenada is produced many 400-meter runners. So I think that would be a better ticket as opposed to the 4x4.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Just let me take some comments there. Congrats to Kirani James and to Coach Harvey Glance. Thank you, Michael Bascom, for hosting this interview, spotlighting Kirani James, Grenada's 2012 Olympic gold medalist with his long list of accomplishments. Kirani, who on the heels of his recovery from illness just added a bronze in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics to his collection of world-class medals and wins. Congratulations to you, Kirani. Our Jaguar, our champion, may God Almighty and our ancestors, including your mom. And he went on. That's from Jerry Hopkins, right here in Brooklyn, New York. So lots coming in. Coach, and, Jerry Hopkins made, well, at that point, a special one in that, including his mom, including, and I may want to add, including your mom as well. May the soul rest in peace. You two have gone through quite a bit within the last year and a half. I mean, COVID is one, but the death of his mom, the death of your mom, but of course, grave illness. I mean, this is something that he'll have to live with most likely for the rest of his life. These are challenges, Coach. And I think no one thought that Kirani James would have been competing, much less winning a medal. Talk us through this, Coach, as intimate as possible. This win, this podium, this medal certainly means a lot for Team Kirani.
Well, yeah, you're right. And on top of getting grades in 2017 and pretty much knocking them off his feet, people need to really open their ears and hear what I'm about to say, because Kirani's career was threatened. His ability to recover was not there. His metabolism was spinning out of control. Every time he ate, his thyroid would just eat up everything. He lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. And if you imagine losing 15 pounds in 3 weeks, I mean, that's 5 pounds a day, and you're training and you're thinking you're doing all the right things. But this disease was one, not very well known, and not many athletes get this particular disease. And the other thing was, it doesn't happen frequently in men. It happened mostly in women, which made it even more odd. So it was one of the few things you ever even look at when you talk about Graves' disease. But there wasn't a whole lot of studies out there for us to really try to put our arms around and get information to try to speed up the process. It was a long journey. Kirani ballooned up to over 200 pounds because once they took his thyroid, now it had an opposite effect on, it went from speeding up in metabolism to slowing it down. They had to work that process. So imagine a guy weighing 178 pounds, all of a sudden ballooning over to 200 pounds. And we couldn't do anything until all this medication kicked in. So again, if you don't know the story, you need to read up on Graves' disease. It's not something that I would wish on anybody, especially an athlete, because you had to regulate everything. Kirani will be on medication for the rest of his life, because not only do we have to regulate it and try to feel out what is important for competition and training, he's going to have to deal with this long after he hangs his spikes up. So it is something that is curable, but it's something that he's got to maintain on a daily basis. And he's got to be structured and dedicated and committed, just as committed as he was as an Olympian and an athlete as he is as an individual. In 2019, Kirani lost his mom, and anybody who knows Kirani knows the relationship he had with his mom. He was a mama's boy. I mean, he would not go a day without talking about his mom or calling his mom. And but also knew that I have utmost respect for his dad, because his dad was one of the key focus when I showed up in the Spice Isles to help guide Kirani into my arms, and I will never and always be in debt. I promised his mom and dad, which is why I'm still part of this journey with Team Kirani, because I promised his mom and dad that I would be that parent away from home, even though I would never ever be Kirani's real dad, that I would be an extension of his family. And I have bought into that from day one, and I still do it to today. Um, we moved to Arizona, uh, primarily moved Kirani to Arizona this year. He's been now about a year and a half, because we wanted to get him better knowledge of where this disease comes. And in Arizona, they have endocrinologists who can get on this thing, and you can throw a rock and hit any building in Arizona, and they can help him. In Tuscaloosa, we were restricted. There wasn't a lot of doctors that knew much about this disease. So one of the reasons for moving him to Arizona was to put him in a better situation that we control these things. And I'll give an example. We ran the meet in Doha this year, and found out when we got back to the States, we went in to visit the doctor, his levels was off. So they had to increase the medication that he was on and things of that nature. So this is it's a constant battle. And we also tested before he came over here to the Olympic Games. So to give you an in-depth view of what he has to go through day in and day out to make sure he keeps this thing regulated, or it can get out of control, and also it could affect his life, just like diabetes. So he has to be real careful about what he eat, how he sleep, how he takes his medication, and all that. And that's all part of, I think, that drawing back on being an Olympian. It was his dedication and commitment and willing to make sacrifices really helps him and his quest to make Olympic teams, to be in position to win medals. And of course this year, um, I lost my mom, and so that became a real challenge. And like Karani, um, I was very close to my mom. For the last 15 years, I brought in Christmas with her. No matter where I was around the world, I would shut everything down and spent the last 15 years of Christmas with my mom. I would bring in New Year's with her, because that was, I knew as we get older, we want to spend more time with our people, because we never know how long they're going to be here. But I made that commitment as a son to spend the last 15 years with my mom, and I'm glad I did that, because now she's no longer here. I can look back and say, I did everything I could as a son to spend time with my mom, and I called her every day. And that was very important to me too. So family values means a lot, and they hit like a ton of bricks. And to show you how much I was affected, I end up. I told my son the other day that I end up calling my mom mistakenly, because I was just so in such a habit of calling her every day to talk to her. So yeah, emotionally, we both went through a lot, trying to lead up to 2020 and 21. And then COVID hit, and of course we had to take the year off, and a lot of people don't realize when you have a situation that turn upside. Every athlete and coach went through this, but COVID hit, and all of a sudden we had to scramble to try to find facility, because the track that we were training on at the high school got shut down, and they shut everything down because of COVID. They didn't want any visitors on campus. They wanted to make sure everything was okay. They didn't want anybody running around. So Karani and I took to the streets. We did workouts in the streets. We did hills in the streets because facilities was closed. We found large fields to go out and do training. We did parks. We did everything in our power to make sure that if these Olympic Games took place, we were going to be in the best shape of our lives and not have any regrets about whether we did not prepare. So even though we may not have prepared 100% like some people have track facilities and they have complexes and training sites, we wasn't that privy out in Arizona. So we had to make best of best until things kind of eased up. And once they did, we made it happen. Um, I like to give shout outs to Mountain View High School out in Arizona and Mesa for allowing us to use their facility to help this dream come true. And at the very end, when they decided to dig their track up and dig their football field up, and we came back from Doha, we had no facility to train in. And I shout outs to Arizona State University for allowing us to come on their facility and train up to this particular point. So there's a lot of things that go into play that a lot of people don't see, that we have to try to always maneuver around and do things to make this dream come true. And as you can very well tell, the mastermind behind doing all this and making all this happen, from doctors to tracks to this, is you're looking at him. And so I try to keep everything off his plate as he possibly could to worry about, so that he can have a free road to trying to win a medal.
Well, Coach Harvey, I mean, I've been listening to you, and you know, all that you have been saying, and again, I know I said it some time ago, probably a year or two ago. I think it's high time that, you know, some sort of award, national Grenadian award, be bestowed upon Coach Harvey Glance. And I'm saying that to say, and let me add some comments there from Edwin Sam. Coaching is more than getting your athlete around the track. Coach Glance's work, Kirani, as a human being, is constantly on exhibit. Coach Glance, and I'm glad you know, Edwin Sam made that point, and I'm just, you know, adding around it as well. But you know, it's also interesting in all that you have said there, including the fact that you still have not added another athlete to the camp. You have been coaching Kirani for the last decade. How many coaches have done that or will do that? Coach Glance, why?
Well, a couple of things. One, you have to have a certain belief in each other. From day one, you know, I tell the story about Kirani's club coach, Albert Joseph, and I tell the story that you know, he did a great job with Kirani, bringing him up to that particular point. And I can remember when we went to the World Juniors in Moncton, Canada, and Kirani won the World Juniors and did a great job. And we went to McDonald's after the race to talk. And at that point in time, Kirani stunned me as well as Albert, I'm sure, when he said, "Coach Albert, I want Coach Glance to be my coach." And I was shocked, and I'm sure Albert was shocked as well. But I felt like, you know, Kirani made that decision based on one, my experience, not just as a coach, but as an athlete. And I can remember the day like it was yesterday, and I looked over to Coach Albert and I said, "Are you all right with this?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm okay with that." And so whether he meant that or not, I have no idea. But Kirani made that decision in Moncton, Canada, in McDonald's that day to say, "I want Coach Glance to be my coach." It wasn't my decision; it was his decision. But I also wanted to make sure that Albert was all right with it, because, you know, it was. I mean, he had known Kirani since he was a pup, and obviously, you know, some things got real ugly because everyone was like, Coach Glance trying to steal Kirani. He's trying to. No, I did not do that. I've never been that kind of person. That's not my makeup, as you probably well know right now. But it was Kirani's decision, and it was a decision now with all the things that have happened, with him making history and things of that nature, that it wasn't a bad decision. And right now we're still going strong. So for those who feel like I tried to steal Kirani, trust me, that was no farther from the truth. That was Kirani's decision to choose me as his coach moving forward. And I did with hesitation, without not giving Coach Joseph respect. I asked him point blank, was that all right? And it really, with Kirani, it was his decision. But that's the way it unfolded. And so the relationship blossomed into one right away. I mean, we went right to the World Championships, and At the age of 18, he became the youngest world champion in 400-meter history. And from that point on, he went and won the Olympics the next year, and then he went to the Commonwealth Games, and then he went to the Olympics again, and he went to the World Championships again, and so here we are right now, and so yeah, I mean not many athletes believe in their coach to a point where they make that decision. Most of them are unlike Kirani. They won't step out and make that full commitment to think what's best for them, but they jump around. But once Kirani locks in, he's locked in. But yeah, I've Michael, to be honest, I've turned down thousands of athletes to coach. I've turned down national countries and teams to coach, and because I didn't want anything to interfere in what we thought something was special. And when you look at all the history we've made as a coach and athlete, it was the right decision. I was never about the money. It was never about the power. It was never about the glory. It was all about that individual. And Kirani, as I told his mom and dad, that when he left the country of Grenada, that I would be his adopted parent away from home. And that's what I've been. And that's what makes this relationship so special.
Mm-hmm. Well, talking about the offers that you have turned down, I recall when we were in the Bahamas, I think it was in 2015 or somewhere there, and you had an offer as well, and,
yeah,
you had an offer, and eventually the person, I mean, at that time you could have said, let us add them to the team, and it's something that you declined. I remember we speaking about that as well.
Yes.
So many things came your way and you didn't take it. Thanks once again. Thank you, Mr. Glance, for working with Kirani. That's from Cricket, lovely cricket. Well, someone from cricket is saying, and thank you for that. Siobhan Jones, no doubt Kirani will continue to do amazing things on and off the track, a class act, an inspiration to all. Hashtag Team Kirani. I know that hashtag obviously will be going for quite a while. There is Dulles Williams. Kirani is in the right hands. Thank you so much. And of course, there must be a little, laughter, because Lincoln Depredine is saying, I'm starting a petition, Harvey Glance for Prime Minister of Grenada. And then it says, Kirani will be the Governor General. So,
Kirani Governor General. All right.
Yeah. And Harvey Glance, the Prime Minister. Yes, Toro, Depredine, always with some sort of laughter. Oh, thanks, you, sir. We greatly appreciate all your support, love, assistance over the years with Kirani. Thanks much, sir. And Ann James Celestine, I think Kirani knows her very well. She said, I'm in tears again. She's very close to Kirani's and Kiran's, his late mom and things like that. So, and Sarah Mark, it is evident that he has been having great mentorship from his coach. We appreciate you, coach, and thank you. Talking about thank you, coach. Of course, what sort of message will you give to future Grenadian Olympians?
Well, it's quite simple. Follow your dream. I know that Grenada has a great history of track and field athletes out there, and you just got to believe in your ability. You got to trust in God that He will guide you, and hopefully, whoever thought that one day a coach and a former athlete from Alabama that was born and raised in Alabama would be with a young man from Guave, Grenada. You never would imagine it. You just got to believe and understand that God has His print on it already. And it's just a matter of you just being dedicated and committed and waiting for the cause, because, God don't make mistakes. When He put His hands on it, any and all things are possible. And I'm just glad that He put me. I told Kirani just last night when we at the press, we were ready to go for the press conference, as well as get drug tested. I looked him dead in his eyes, and God has always put words in my mouth at the right time to say to Kirani, and I'm real grateful for that. I looked him dead in his eyes again, and I said, "Thank you for choosing me as your coach." And he looked me right back and he said, "Thank you for choosing me as your athlete." And so it's it's a beautiful, beautiful relationship. It's one that will go down in history books. No one would ever be able to take whatever we have built away. And again, what God has put His handprint on, can't no one touch it.
Coach, I know it's always refreshing to speak to you. And, thank you for being up. But I have some other things I want to get to you with. But let me just get some comments. Thank you, sir. Job well done. I think people are now appreciating more and more the sort of support and understanding the sort of support team that Kirani has, especially led by you. Kirani is a special human being. There's also, Ricardo Keynes Douglas saying amen. So to his Anne Celestine, nice job, coach. Sharon Francois Dyer. Yes, let me get some of those again. My cousin's has gained another father. Yes.
Thank you, Ann. I appreciate that.
Yes, Anne is saying that. And then there is another comment here. Well, Clairvoy Depredine is the brother of Lincoln Depredine. They are full of a lot of humor. But here is this one. Thanks, Coach Harvey Glance, to you and your family for your guidance and mentorship in Kirani's sojourn throughout his testings, trials, and tribulations, socially and professionally. You are now Grenadian by adoption. Pick your parish. Obviously, it may not be St. John. He wants you to pick. He wants you to pick a parish. Don't be biased. Don't be biased. It doesn't have to be St. John. It doesn't have to be the tongue of Guelph. But what struck me again was that a while ago when you mentioned the whole issue of Guelph and Grenada, people will think that you're actually from Grenada because you pronounce Guelph correctly, you pronounce it Grenada correctly. There is something Grenadian about you. I don't know, but it's something about that. Lincoln Deputy is saying after the redevelopment of the wharf, Harvey gonna get a bungalow and we will make the non-playing captain of Republic Bank Angel Harps. He will join the engine room and on the road to Carnival Day. He wants you to enjoy Carnival, Grenada Carnival. It's all in the spirit of Carnival. Harvey, before you go, the comment now has to do with as one who has coached, participated, representing the United States, and one who has coached the United States at track and field level. Are you surprised, Coach, about the U.S. lack thereof in terms of performances on the track? They lack that domination that we have seen that has been part of the U.S. track and field prowess in terms of Olympics over the years. Are you surprised?
Oh no, I just think the rest of the world has caught up. There's a lot of things out there that that people are tapping into. You got people now that are coming to the United States and learning what the United States system is all about. Coaches are going back to their countries and they're implementing those kind of programs. They're getting better technologies in some of the rest of the world. At one point, you had countries like back in the day when I was competing, like East Germany and Russia and East Germany and people like that was pretty much the ironclad countries that were pretty much programming their athletes, even though there may have been some underlying things going on, but they had the right concept and the fact that they chose their talent real early. They sought it and they would never let that talent leave them. America, we have just a depth of talent, but I think we are losing some of our greater coaches from the sport, especially track and field, because a lot of time coaches used to do this because of the love of the sport. Now money's involved and shoe companies are involved and contracts are involved. And when I was coming up, there wasn't a lot of that going on. Now, it's become more professional. MFA track and field is professional now. And when you got money involved, you best believe that any athlete that comes up they're going to be with the best coach, and they're going to be with, because it's about winning medals, it's about making finals, it's about putting yourself in position, it's about making teams. And so the big difference today than when I was coming up is that there's more specialists, and the rest of the country now are recruiting specialists. They're paying coaches money. They're paying coaches to come and do seminars. They're paying coaches to come in and teach their athletes technique and form and things of this nature. So yeah, I mean, that's the big difference now. And we're losing some of our better coaches. And in some areas, it's noticeable, because again, coaching is not just about putting a stopwatch on a person. As you very well tell, you watch all the things that's happening now with the mental illness that people are going through. If I got to believe that if I wasn't in Kirani's life, it would be easy for him to jump off the edge because of all the things he had to deal with personally. You need someone there to have that balance. And when you get in meets like this, I mean, and I will tell you, this was not an easy competition. We had some talks about what it would take to get out there and do what we had to do. But we had to draw back on experience. We had to draw back on belief. We had to draw back on all those things. And so coaching is not just putting a stopwatch on a person. Is that some people are losing the battle because they just may need that experienced person on their shoulder to have a conversation when doubt slips in, or when they have to slip a little bit mentally. At the Olympic Games, the physicalities are so balanced because of everybody's here for a reason. They're the best their country has to offer. But when it comes to getting to that line and getting on that podium, you got to have some kind of advantage in your camp, because it's not easy. And I will say what the U.S. has done is they are looking at their better coaches and saying, we got the guys that can get people on the podium, and that's important. So even though the performances are not slacking off, the U.S. is not getting worse. The rest of the country is getting better. So it just makes the sport that much better.
Mm-hmm. All right, Coach. Well, let me once again say thank you to the entire Team Grenada, including Lyndon Victor, Anderson Peters, Melanie Rodney, and our two swimmers, Kimberly Ince and Denrod Felix, and all the others, the other coaches and support staff for Team Grenada in Tokyo. It has been a pleasure. It's also always refreshing when I'm speaking to Coach Glance. And just before you go on your final words, Coach, some comments there. Before even I take some comments, let me just say that one of the things that I so admire about the developments over the last 24 hours regarding Kirani James and the bronze is not so much of Kirani's victory. And I say victory because, as far as I'm concerned, since Kirani went into the final, for me, it was a gold medal. Okay.
Yes.
But all the things we spoke about, the challenges, all these things he had to go through, both himself and you as well. I thought Kirani getting into the final and make it sweeter, the podium, is so refreshing. When I think about not just COVID, thinking about him losing his mom, fighting grave illness, you losing your mom, having to relocate in the interest of Kirani, how many coaches will do something like that? These are challenges, and these were things that at some point in time have to get acclimatized within a period of time, and then adjust, and then get ready and get focused for the big challenge ahead, knowing for a fact to some extent that we were a bit uncertain on a lot of things, whether we'll reach where we are, whether the games will cancel, so many things, Coach. You will get a moment to say some few words, but let me get some comments. Deacon Alex Kamabach is saying, God blessing to you, Coach. Well done. We are so very proud of Kirani. Peace and love, Coach. And that's from Grenada. Sharon is saying, well, she's responding to which parish that you should choose. And she's saying, St. Andrew, we're ready to adopt you. So you have a choice. Donna Joseph saying, thank you, Coach Glance. You gave Kirani's parents your word, and you stuck to it as a coach and as a parent to him. Thank you again, Coach Harvey Glance. You have done Grenada proud. Let's get some more. Yeah, Coach Harvey, I'm giving you the keys to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, but you are the Governor General of the Republic of Guelph. You are the Governor General of the Republic of Guelph. And Bass Harvey is the only non-Grenadian I've ever known to pronounce Guelph correctly. Yes, that is something else. Let me see. Jomo Bullen is saying you have played an integral part in putting Grenada on the map and created opportunities for other athletes in Grenada. Thank you and congratulations to you and Kirani. Again, the hashtag is there, Team Kirani James. And Liz Forsyth, who knows Kirani very well from the same parish. Coach Glance is an honorary Wolverinian. Wolverinian. Yes. So that's a lot from you. Coach, it's the opportunity for you now. Thank you, Coach Harvey, on your guidance, and Kirani James, Grenada, thank you, and God bless you. It's an opportunity for you. Some final words, and, as we're ready to close the program.
Well, let me say this, and I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. Whether Grenadian individuals and country has adopted me has never been an issue, because I know who I am and what I am. But I will say this: in 2009, when I visited the great country of Grenada, I knew in my heart that I had adopted Grenada. So whether Grenada adopted me was not the issue. It was whether I was going to adopt Grenada, and I did when I adopted their native son. And just know that I never look back on that decision. I'm proud to have been a part of that. We have made history together. And people ask me all the time, how do you feel? Do you feel like you betrayed your country? Do you feel like you just, no. It's just like adopting a kid from another country. So when I say this, I say it with all due respect, that I feel already adopted by Grenada, and I feel like Grenada has adopted me. So we're a team, just like Team Kirani. I'm all the way in and making sure that it's kind of like when the family turned Kirani over to me. Well, guess what? I'm actually letting the United States have a little bit of Harvey and Coach Glance. But to give you an example again, people need to understand and realize that the two guys that Kirani won, I want you to think about this. The two guys that Kirani beat out for the bronze medal was two Americans. And so I'm doing my job. I'm staying committed to the process, but at the same time, I could be helping my country rather than hurting my country. But I don't see it that way, because I'm dedicated to this individual and a person that I truly love as a son, away from his mom and dad. So understand that, believe in that, and appreciate that. I love you guys.
Thank you, Coach Harvey Glance. Thank you, Kirani James. Thank you, Team Grenada in Tokyo. Thank you also to Tokyo for that uninterrupted feed live from Tokyo in Japan. And thank you for getting up so early, being with us. And I know that that will continue, although according to the protocols, I think you have to leave within 48 hours after competition. I don't know if that will affect you and Kirani in terms of that. But when is the medal presentation? Do you have an idea when is the medal presentation?
Yeah, the award ceremony is tonight here in Tokyo.
Okay, tonight, right. Okay, thank you very much, Coach Glance. I appreciate that. And I'm from all the comments we receive from all the Grenadians and others, I'm certain that Grenadians appreciate that love, appreciate that spirit, appreciate that togetherness, and they want to support. My thing is that I'm hoping that with all the celebrations that took place today over Kirani's accomplishment, that we continue to support sports, we continue to support our athletes, because Today is Kirani, tomorrow it could be someone else. And the hope is that we can, for a small island with just 100,000, as a population, we can rally around and we can continue supporting our sportsmen and sportswomen. It's very important. Thank you very much, Coach Glance.
Godspeed.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay then. So folks, that's Coach Harvey Glance, who was live in Tokyo in Japan. It's morning time there. And earlier we had Kirani, who popped in for a few minutes to say hello. And we really appreciate the love that we receive from all the folks coming in. And certainly there's more of that from everyone. Thank you very much to folks who extending safe travels back to the US, as they say. And of course, Harvey, for so eloquently putting out those. I don't think we'd have had someone else who could have done that as how you did that. As we said, unfiltered, unbiased, undiluted, Harvey Glance to the max. And folks, if you have the opportunity, if you have missed out, you can always get the replay, because I tell you, you would have missed quite a bit of what Harvey had to say, and get a better understanding of not just Harvey Glance as coach, but Team Kirani, a better understanding of Kirani, because Kirani's professional life has been in the hands of Harvey Glance. So I think it was an opportune time to hear from Coach Glance and get that firsthand. As I said, I don't even think Kirani would have said it as how Harvey said it. I think Harvey brought out everything that we need to do, and more, about Kirani, about Team Kirani, about the support around Kirani, why Kirani is the type of person he is, and all from all the comments and things like that. So as I said, Kirani has to be a special human being. We don't see, and as some of the commentators were saying, we don't see a better human being as Kirani. What Kirani has brought to the 400 meters, as Harvey said a couple months ago, and it's very important to remember that Kirani opened global attention, gave global attention to the 400 meters. Prior to that, as they said, was old men that were running the 400 meters. And when Kirani bust onto the scene and started competing at a very young age and dominating the 400 at 17, 18, 19, look at how the floodgates opened, and look at how many young people have got into running the 400, both male and female. It was never, 10 years ago, probably before that, 10, 15 years ago, they wouldn't have that sort of attention on the 400 meters. Everything was on the 100, the 200, and that's it. He has brought that to the 400 meters. We have to give him that level of respect. We have to give him that. And thank you, Harvey, for bringing that up to my attention some time ago. What Kirani has brought to the 400 meters was that global attention, where it has become the marquee event. The 100 meters, I don't think, had that sort of attention as how the 400 meters had this time around. And thank you once again, Coach Harvey. Thank you, Grenada. Thank you to all those who have been giving support to Kirani and all our athletes. As we speak, we also have another Grenadian athlete in Nazio John, who is actually participating in the Junior Olympics, in the Junior Olympic Games, as they say, in Texas, in Houston, Texas, and doing pretty well. He needs all the support. He will be representing Grenada in Nairobi, Kenya, in about a week or two, in the World Juniors, the under 20 championships, I should say. Yeah, World Athletics under 20 championships in Nairobi, Kenya. We need to continue to support our athletes. And when I say athletes, I'm speaking in general terms. Whether you're a cricketer, whether you're a swimmer, a basketballer, just name it. Our sportsmen and women, they need the support, and not just these, the press releases and things that come out every now and again, saying how much we committed and how much we want to do. Listen, we need the support, and the support doesn't necessarily have to be in dollars and cents. The support could be in providing that environment so that our sportsmen and women can get that opportunity to flourish, can get that opportunity to represent, can get that opportunity to exert their true potential. I will continue to support our athletes, even though I'm not directly involved in sports anymore, but I will continue to do whatever I can to support sports. Yes, I have a bias for track and field. There's no doubt about that, but I have always been there to support sports. Thank you once again. Thank you, Grenada. Thank you for being my company for this program. We'll have another program on Saturday. This time we'll be talking about the development of football. I trust you. It will be a very interesting program. It will be in terms of the development of football following Grenada's exit from the Gold Cup, well, early exit from the Gold Cup. We'll be having a candid conversation about football and the development of football. Some of the people who will be involved and made to understand should give us a very good insight into where football should be heading for Grenada in terms of its development. Thank you once again. Thank you all those who have been part of this program, and I want to wish you all the best and continue, as I said, continue to support our sportsmen and sportswomen. Bye for now. I'm Michael Mask.